Donald Trump's dictatorial power over Congress will not continue.
When Elise Stefanik has ended her campaign for governor of New York, and she will also not seek re-election in Congress.
I'll be resigning from office with my last day being January 5th, 2026.
A Republican Congress member just abruptly resigned. MAGA Republican Congress member Troy Nehls.
So if the polls are anything to go by, the Trump-led GOP are in for a tough 2026. We know that, right? But if Rupert Murdoch's Wall Street Journal is warning President Donald Trump that his habit of backstabbing loyalists could backfire on his own movement, then, things are looking pretty grim for the MAGA contingent in 2026. The institution that once served as one of Donald Trump's most reliable forms of communication has, for the past couple months at least, which we've reported on, been openly warning him and the MAGA base that his political coalition may not survive his own behavior. See, as Trump prepares to enter into the second year of his 30-year term, I'm actually only 18, this is what a Trump term or two does to those of us who care. But Rupert Murdoch's Wall Street Journal, a pillar of conservative media and a longtime friendly megaphone for Republican causes, published a rare editorial recently telling Donald Trump that his own pattern of treating loyal MAGA allies badly could ultimately destroy his own political coalition. The article called Trump's behavior towards one of his closest supporters evidence that his coalition might lack the staying power he imagines. Now, the supporter in question in this example was New York Representative Elise Stefanik, long one of Trump's most energetic, loyal allies in Congress, who was, of course, as we know, first encouraged by Trump to run for New York governor. She did exactly that, right? Raising significant campaign funds and clearing her schedule for a statewide campaign race. But then when Nassau County Executive Bruce Blakeman entered the contest, Trump suddenly refused to endorse her, saying that both candidates were, quote, great people. And well, as a result of that, Stefanik dropped out of the governor's race and also announced that she would also resign her House seat.
Congresswoman Elise Stefanik announcing on social media that while spending time with her family over the holidays, she's, quote, made the decision to suspend her campaign for governor and will not seek re-election to Congress, going on to say she intends to spend more time with her family, particularly her young son. Also adding, quote, as we have seen in past elections, while we would have overwhelmingly won this primary, it is not an effective use of our time or your generous resources to spend the first half of next year in an unnecessary and protracted Republican primary, especially in a challenging state like New York. With Stefanik out of the race for governor, that leaves incumbent Democrat Kathy Hochul to be challenged by the Republican Nassau County Executive Bruce Blakeman.
And she's not the first Republican to do that this year either, right?
I'll be resigning from office with my last day being January 5th, 2026. And I look forward to seeing many of you again sometime in the future. May God bless you all, and may God bless America.
MAGA Republican House of Representative member to announce their resignation. Now, Nehls says he's going to serve out the remainder of his term for now. We'll see about that. But we are expecting there to be other resignations, a wave of resignations we've been talking about and we've heard are coming. And the question is, will some of these additional resignations take place before the midterms, thus switching the speakership from MAGA Mike Johnson to Democratic leader Hakeem Jeffries. So here's what we learned about Troy Nehls, this MAGA Republican from Texas. He says he's not seeking re-election. He's from Richmond in Texas. He's been MAGA through and through. I mean, just take a look at the outfits that he would wear in the House of Representatives and in the Capitol building. He'd wear these weird Trump shirts that never surrender, the weird American flag bow ties. This is a real human being, folks, who is a member of Congress or was a member of Congress. He writes the following in announcing his resignation. After more than 30 years in law enforcement, serving and protecting my community as a police officer, constable, Fort Bend County Sheriff, and Army veteran, and 6 years representing this district in Congress, I have made the decision after conversations with my beautiful bride and my girls over the Thanksgiving holiday to focus on my family and return home after this Congress. Now, these MAGA Republican Congress members seem to be realizing that they will be in the minority soon and that there's about to be a blue tsunami that will wipe them out of the House of Representatives. Accountability is coming to them. Accountability is coming to this Trump regime. And we see these rats abandoning the sinking ship.
The Journal took it a step further. It didn't just report on this recent episode. It used it to illustrate a broader problem for Donald Trump, articulating that his pattern of transactional loyalty and political betrayal is actually weakening the entire Republican Party.
Today, Donald Trump is the biggest loser in presidential history on legislation passed by both the House and the Senate that is a direct rebuke of the president. No president has ever suffered a personal rebuke on legislation anywhere close to the enormity of what Donald Trump suffered today. Mike Johnson spent the year doing Donald Trump's dirty work in the House of Representatives by blocking any chance for a vote on releasing the Epstein files. And then when the vote was forced upon him, Mike Johnson completely surrendered. And then Mike Johnson was doubly humiliated in his surrender today after he said this.
I called my counterpart in the Senate, Leader Thune, and I talked him through this with him and shared our deep concerns. And of course, they share those concerns as well. And so I'm very confident that when this moves forward in the process, if and when it is processed in the Senate, which there's no certainty that that will be, that they will take the time methodically to do what we have not been allowed to do in the House, to amend this discharge petition.
He was guaranteed by Republican Senate Majority Leader John Thune that the Senate would amend the bill passed by the House and include the kind of changes Mike Johnson insisted were necessary. He actually said, I called my counterpart in the Senate, Leader Thune, and I talked through this with him and shared our deep concerns. When I heard that, I thought, well, for sure, the Senate is going to have to add amendments or try to add amendments. And now I know someone is lying. Either Mike Johnson is lying about that phone call, or John Thune lied to Mike Johnson on that phone call. Because John Thune had no intention of offering amendments to the House bill.
Now, as I've reported on this before, let's be clear why this matters, right? Rupert Murdoch's media empire historically supported Trump. We know this from his 2016 rise through multiple election cycles and into both presidencies. And they still do to this day via many of his other media companies. But in particular, when you look at the Wall Street Journal's editorial board, they've been behind countless articles just torching the president and in turn the GOP as a whole for their inability to govern while holding all branches of government. A stark contrast to what Trump likes to convey. And in recent months, also it's worth noting that Murdoch outlets, not just the Wall Street Journal, but even the traditionally pro-Trump New York Post, have ran articles criticizing him over the Epstein files and criticizing Trump's policies and decisions. Post slammed the lavish treatment of Jeffrey Epstein associate Ghislaine Maxwell under Trump's watch, and the Journal blasted Trump's approach recently. And as I've said before and like to reiterate, I doubt it's down to one of the world's most vindictive media moguls having a change of heart, and more so the fact that he's paying attention to what's going on in the country and the fact that more and more people, even Trump voters, are heading for the exits.
Okay, you know what, Donald Trump, I'm going to borrow a quote from my favorite Rocky film, Rocky IV. He's not a machine. He's not a machine. He's a man. He's a man. And what are we talking about here? Strongly approve of Donald Trump. Okay, this is 2024 Trump voters. In March, it was 66%. Look at where we are now. It's just 50% of 2024 Trump voters strongly approve of him. Look, Trump voters still like Donald Trump, but they don't love him as much. And that means there's a permission structure to actually go against him. And that is exactly what you saw in Indiana. As I said, he's not a machine. He's not a machine. He's a man. You can go against him as exactly they did in Indiana.
In Politico, we're supporting it. There were threats from the White House to them. Basically, I will break you, to quote Rocky IV. And they must not have believed it.
No, they did not believe it one iota.
All right.
I mean, maybe he's just looking at his own polls on Fox News.
Fox polling shows that voters are still not happy with the economy under President Trump. 72% say national economic conditions are not good or are in poor condition.
Or maybe he's listening to Jessica Tarlow.
Historically speaking, the midterms are going to go against the president. The question is, how big is that margin going to be? But Dana said, rightly so, that was what my nodding was, that Donald Trump, if he says, I got you, I'm working on it, that people can hear that and that can resonate. But the problem is that it's not one night, it's not 2 nights, it's like 320 nights that he's had to work on it. And he's put into place policies that are making it worse. And last night's rally, I understand it's all going to be chopped up and that's how people are going to consume it, but it is basically an in-kind contribution to the Democrats. The midterm ads will be full of Donald Trump from last night saying, you can give up pencils. You don't need that many. You don't need $37 for your daughter. 2 or 3 is nice. So we're doing things right. Prices are going down. My favorite word is tariff. I just helped our farmers out because they're starting to do really well. The tariffs are making them rich. There is not a farmer that you could find to do an interview that is saying, I have been made rich because of Donald Trump's tariff policy. Mm-hmm. And last night, Democrats were also busy in Florida and in Georgia. So there's going to be a new mayor of Miami, Eileen Higgins, a Democrat, hasn't won there in decades. I know, before you say it, Brian, there was an independent who was in there in the early 2000s. Still, Kamala Harris won by 1 point, Miami County. She won by 19 points. We flipped another seat in Georgia. So far in 2025, Dems have flipped 25 GOP-held seats. The GOP have flipped 0. That is the story of what's going on here. So you can say people speak Trump, they love the weave. I get it. I never loved it, but I understand that people like it. What they like more is money in their pockets, and he's not delivering on that.
It would be naive of us here at Meidas to not point out the cracks in the foundation as we gear up for another year of resistance.
Love this video? Support independent media and unlock exclusive content, ad-free videos, and custom emojis by becoming a paid member of our YouTube channel today. You can also gift memberships to others. Let's keep growing together.